AITA for disabling my BF's access to my Peloton account when he wasn't talking to me. I am not op. Original post by you, Snowfall Icy in R, Amithius Hole, and NBSP. AITA for disabling my BF's access to my Peloton account when he wasn't talking to me. The 31st of October 2021. So my boyfriend has had a rough 2020 because he loves to travel and he got laid off from his job at a very big commercial airline that allowed him to travel the world for free. Learning his uncle was diagnosed with cancer in December just added insult to the injury. He went into a pretty deep depression and gained a considerable amount of weight, and I've tried to be supportive by letting him use all of my memberships for free so he can save money while he looks for a job. Have been cooking healthy meals. And I gave him access to my Peloton account so he could do his own workouts from home while I am at work. We got into a really big argument last week because I fell asleep during a movie. This is his pet peeve. And there have been times in the past where he has stormed out of my place because I have fallen asleep during movies or shows he's suggested. When we were in therapy at one point, he said when I fall asleep it makes him feel like I'm disengaged. And I totally respected that and promised I would inform him when I was either too tired to watch something, or was getting sleepy while we were watching something. Last weekend, he suggested we watch a documentary, and 15 minutes into the documentary, he asked me if I was falling asleep and I said I was getting sleepy. But I wasn't sleeping. 2 minutes later, he insisted that I was sleeping. He said he could hear me breathing loudly. And when I denied it, he accused me of lying about falling asleep. He said the problem wasn't that I was sleeping. It was that I was lying about it. I told him I was tired and did not want to deal with this tantrums, and we called it night. When I texted him the following morning, I didn't hear back, so I started to get worried. I saw that he had accessed my Peloton account less than an hour before and figured maybe he is still upset and he's just needs space. But he didn't call or text me back that day for 5 days and continued to use my account each of those 5 days. When I still haven't heard a word from him after 5 days, I disabled his access to my account. He accused me of being emotionally abusive when I did that. According to him, I should have known he is not in a good place right now and might need space. He claimed to be doing some 14-day mind-body meditation challenge that I interfered with. I felt bad, but I told him he could have communicated that to me. But since he chose to ghost me instead, I had no way of knowing. AITA? Verdict. NTA. Update. He came over tonight to talk and I broke things off. The first words out of his mouth were, "What do you have to say for yourself?" We didn't end up talking for long. I asked for my key back and I hugged him politely at the end. This was nothing like our first breakup where I was bawling my eyes out. He sent his roommate over to my place immediately after we talked to return most of my belongings, which I didn't ask for. But among them, a sentimental portrait of us, a blender, a scrunchie, and one beat-up Nike sandal. He told his roommate to relay the message that once he found the other sandal, he would send that too. I told his roommate not to even bother. He can throw it away. Thank you savage internet strangers for the harsh wake-up call today. FTS. I'm done. And NBSP. Reminder, I am not the original poster. Tantrums when OOP isn't displaying attention per ex's specifications, doesn't communicate with OOP for almost a week but feels entitled to use their Peloton account. Aren't those kind of pricey? Tried to pull a power move by asking, "What do you have to say for yourself?" Quote, "That you're not my dad? Lol." Petulantly sends roommate to return insignificant items. +1 sandal. OOP isn't missing out on anything great. Dumping him was the right choice. Dude seriously ended his relationship because she fell asleep during movies and cut off access to her Peloton after he ghosted her for a week. I can't help but laugh at this douche-canoe. I wonder if he kept the other sandal delusionally thinking it'd be the catalyst of oop crawling back to him. I read that post long ago. Didn't recognize it until the sandal thingy. This stayed in my mind because of how petty it seemed. Lol. Ah yes. The silent treatment. The weapon of choice of every emotionally mature adult in a healthy relationship. $50 says they only watched stuff he wanted to watch, and if she wanted to see anything she would have to do it on her own. Oop didn't have a BF. She had a toddler. Man, children are the worst. I am always happy when Op realizes that internet strangers are giving good advice and decides to act accordingly. Sure, we see just a glimpse, but sometimes is enough. Her BF sounds exhausting. My mom used to fall asleep during movies and TV shows. Wake up toward the end and somehow have the plot twist figured out. Like, she guessed who Kaiser Soze was from watching about 15 minutes of The Usual Suspects before she fell asleep and waking up just before the end. The key takeaway was that this was not their first breakup. Hopefully it's the last. I would have told him to shove it where the sun doesn't shine. If I had a nickel for every time either my husband or myself fell asleep watching a show, I would be a rich lady. But the cherry on top is how 5 days of him giving her the silent treatment while mooching off her expensive workout account is perfectly okay in his book. Her stopping access to said account after his week-long tantrum showed no signs of stopping was abusive. Dude needs to be hit by a whole load of clue by force. Absolutely no sense of responsibility or personal accountability. I think OOP's ex-boyfriend needs a dictionary. Falling asleep during a movie is not being disengaged, but not returning calls or texts is exactly that. Well, thank God he was planning to return the other sandal. I was worried he was going to be a tiny, petty, abusive man-child about it. 2 minutes later, he insisted that I was sleeping. He said he could hear me breathing loudly. And when I denied it, he accused me of lying about falling asleep. Tears of joy, tears of joy, tears of joy. She's lying because he can hear her breathing loudly, loudly crying, loudly crying, loudly crying. Imagine dating someone that's in an unemployed sleep police JFC. Good riddance MF. The missing sandal was his tactic to get in contact with Oop later. Tactic didn't work with Oop. So transparent this dude. Lol. Someone falling asleep during a movie is tired, not disengaged. What a self-centered prick. She is falling asleep because she should be going to sleep. But she wants to spend time with the ungrateful asshole mooching off her. So she forces herself to stay awake. If yes weren't allowed to fall asleep while watching things, my husband, I would never have made it to the engagement. Pretty pathetic. Me and my wife often fall asleep during movies. They're more an excuse to cuddle up on the sofa rather than the movie itself.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.